We'll start with the invocation. Towards the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. That felt like a good warm-up invocation for me. Maybe that felt very complete for you. That felt like a practice run for me. So I'm going to say it again, but I'm just going to take a few breaths first. That feels like a nice way of just preparing my own heart space, my own awareness, so that when I say the invocation, I feel like I mean it, and that there's a sincerity of intention around it, of bringing my authentic awareness and desire to it. So I invite you to shape your breath in that intention if you wish. To just feel an openness, a willingness, a clarity of purpose. And even though I know that the furnace is kind of loud in here right now, so I'm inclined to speak louder to get over it, so you can hear me, but I really just want to say the invocation quietly this time. And if you can hear me, to come along with me and to synchronize with me, that's fine. And if not, then you can just follow your own rhythm. But I invite you to say the invocation for the ears of your own heart, not for my ears, or even the physical ears on your head, or not for anyone else in the room, but to really invite this as a felt experience of intention. Towards the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. That felt better for me. All right. So I brought a bunch of things for you today that I didn't really organize. But the theme for today, at first I thought, was these 3 poetic words of a description of a spectrum of a process from Murshid that is will, wish, and desire. Will, wish, and desire. And so I started looking for all of the beautiful things and examples and ways that Murshid presents these things. And he took me in another direction that includes these words, but then the intention is more focused on how do we align or harmonize our sense of will, wish, and desire with God's will, wish, and desire. And it's interesting to me that the words are in this order, which is on purpose. And we had a recent, just this last Thursday, day before yesterday, that was our Gita's class, our Thursday evening class. And Murshid focused a lot of things on will. That is, everything that exists has ever come into existence. Everything that happens can only happen because there is a will behind it. Because there is a dedicated, consistent intention that has its starting point, its process into the fruition of its manifestation. Without will, nothing is possible. And will, as a force, an energy, requires concentration. So that was the focus of the teaching from the Gita's class that then shaped this. Will is the force. And will is tied to, or is an expression of and moves through, the wish, which is the intention. The wish is what you want to see happen. It's not the energy to make something happen, but it's the desire for something specific to happen. And the desire is underneath the wish. So you could look at it as the easiest thing for us to recognize is the fruit from the will. Like what it is that we can actually observe. Does that make sense? There's like a tangible, defined experience, event, object, activity that we can see and experience that's tangible, that's felt. But we trace that back to, well, how did that happen? Where did that come from? The very beginning point is desire, which is just impulse. Desire is simply impulse. That's the immediate arising inspiration, thought, possibility. It's not been chosen yet. The desire is just the impulse. Then when it's chosen, it becomes wish. Then when it's brought into existence, that's will. Does that make sense? As a process of energies.
What's the middle word?
Wish.
Wish.
Yes.
Not wit.
Wish.
Wish.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Are you Erica?
Yes.
Hi, Erica. Welcome. You're in the right place. Okay. 2 days ago, Murshid's bowl of sake. Did everyone memorize it? You got it and you immediately were like, yep, I'm tucking that away forever and ever. No, probably not. Bowl of sake from April 18th is our success or failure depends upon the harmony or disharmony of our individual will with the divine will. There's the theme. There it is. Our success or failure depends upon the harmony or disharmony of our individual will with the divine will. You want to see it again so you can get it word for word? Riaz. One more time?
I'm okay.
You're okay. I know, you're good. You're so good. I'm glad you're here. Welcome back again. Our success or failure depends upon the harmony or disharmony of our individual will with the divine will. Does that feel right to you? Does that feel resonant and sensible?
I'm trying to think of words for a similar framework.
Yeah.
I think we might have an idea of success and failure that is sometimes not true success or failure on a divine level, so there probably is room for lots of misinterpretation for most people.
Yeah, true. So Murshid focuses a lot of things about what is it that we are capable of accomplishing? And in what ways can we develop understanding, intelligence, and skillful means for accomplishing what it is that we feel pulled to accomplish? And there's always some of both. That is your personal desire, your personal longing, your personal inspiration, personal passion. And then will that work or not? Well, it depends on whether you have aligned that in harmony with the will of the divine, which is expressed and manifest in the observable unfolding of life.
And the alignment framework I was recalling is Louise Hay's affirmations. So that's where you're already misguided, derailed, disharmonious. And a lot of her affirmations point back to alignment,
Yeah,
in my experience.
yeah. Yeah, Murshid was big on affirmations too. And the majority of the affirmations that he offered as practices, like, oh, you need words to be able to express what it is that you're wanting. And so many of the affirmations he offered are, let me pay close attention to what God is asking and showing so that I can be in right relation with that divine impulse.
So rather than saying like an affirmation of something you want, you might like be open to something else.
Yeah. And I would say maybe not instead of what you want, but along with what you want. You get to have your wants too. The individual desires also come from God, and not all of them are destined to take shape. And we, in our limited humanness, are not capable of forcing the world to our preferences.
Oh darn.
Yeah. We are not without power, but our power is going to be much more effective if we're paying attention and syncing up with S-Y-N-C, syncing up, not S-I-N-K, not falling, but aligning with, getting into rhythm, into harmony with the divine impulse. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know how to do it? Even once you said it right, it takes a few seconds for it to register. So we're gonna sing a bit, because I find that we're more likely to try to get our personal preferences out of the way if we are inspired by and drawn by beauty. And music is a pretty good atmosphere of beauty for us. So a couple days ago, we visited this particular set of beautiful names of God that are names for guidance. And there's a recognition that any form of guidance that we might ask for, there will be a right time and place and a way that we feel ready and available to tend to that instruction, to that wisdom. So there are 3 specific beautiful names of God that each mean guidance. And in this particular way of singing them, we start out with our intensity of desire. That is, I've noticed for myself, maybe you've noticed this too in your own experience, that when there's a desire for guidance, for instruction, for the way to be made clear, to be known, there's like, come on, I want it right now. I want to know right now. Show me the answers right now. Light it up for me right now. And that intensity of desire, the hunger, the impatience that comes with that is often a necessary phase. It is often a necessary phase. I had to say it that way in case you might have heard it as, it's often unnecessary. Sometimes it's unnecessary too, but that's not what I was trying to express in that moment. That there are so many things that, like Murshid says, if you want to get into the temple, you are given instructions to walk around the temple 100 times, reciting particular mantra, doing particular breath practices, purifications, rituals, this complicated system, so that by the time you are given permission and admitted into the temple, you've exhausted your sense of self, you've used up your personal energy, and you show up having let all of these other things fall away. And it's not because the door was locked before you walked around the temple 100 times. It's that you wouldn't have been ready for it. It wouldn't have felt as significant. You wouldn't put as much appreciation, attention, awareness. You wouldn't have the inner readiness, receptivity, preparation. Same place, same doorway, but our attitude, our willingness, our attention to it is different if we wear ourselves out first in complexities, exercises. So the first way of approaching guidance is often like, come on, 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 come on. And then we start settling into, like, okay, let's just see if we can tend to this with intention, with some ease, with some stability, with some equanimity and maturity. And then, once we start letting the words fall away, letting the names fall away, and tending simply to the breath and the atmosphere of the beloved, then we're actually ready to hear and recognize the guidance that is available. So the three names of God that we'll visit are Ya Mulhim. The Ya is the invocation. It's said to translate as O, just the capital letter O, an exclamation. But it's used as a calling forth or a calling up, an invocation. So we say Ya Mulhim. Mulhim is the name of God that means guidance, and it's the kind of guidance that we experience in our own physical body, in our own mind, in our bones, in our gut, in our muscles, and in our felt experience of our humanness. Mulhim. Mulhim. The second word is Hadi. Ya Hadi. Hadi is also guidance, but it means the kind of guidance that shows up as a direct voice of God in your awareness, that you recognize not as your voice, not as your thought, not even as your intuition, the direct guidance directly from Source. Hadi. And the third one is Rashid. Rashid. And Rashid is the kind of guidance that is readable, is discernible in all of the details and expressions of life, of the world, within ourselves and outside of ourselves. That is, being able to recognize the signs, the rhythms, the changes of light, the meaning of a flock of birds flying over, or rain falling, or light bouncing off of a particular object in nature, in the city, in a park, in our homes, wherever it is. That is, like, what is it that is manifesting, and what does that mean? Being able to understand and discern what that means is Rashid. Ya Mulhim, Ya Hadi, Ya Rashid. There are four different lines that you can visit in this practice. And if you find one and you're like, that's the rhythm that I need right now, you can just stick with that as long as you want to. If you find something, if the four of them that I offer don't quite capture it for you, you can make up your own, and that's fine too. So, Ya Mulhim, Ya Hadi, Ya Rashid. Really trying to make space within ourselves to listen for the will, wish, and desire of God that can align with our own. Ya Mulhim, Ya Hadi, Ya Rashid. 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 I'm just feeling in my own experience of practice that there are all of these different ways that we can utilize the sacred sound of the Sufis, who, that while it's said to mean so many different things and to be used in so many different ways, there's a vibration of sound, a livingness. Anytime we intone who or hear who, and in this practice, I'm moving between these rhythmic impressions of who, that is like a pulse on the heart. That I know my inclination is to have my head turned a little bit to the left so that the sound is just impressed into my own physical heart over and over again. Who, and it's like knocking on the door with each little rap of who, right? And then there's also a longer breath of whoo, that is like infusing and awakening the living atmosphere of the heart so that it hums in response. It creates a resonance and a vitality of, like, I'm comparing it in my pagan sensibilities of using a rattle in a space to wake up the energies, to speak to the elements that are present, the unseen wisdom beings. And then, it's such a simple gesture, and yet it means so much to be able to turn the head a little bit to the left so that the who is intoned into the heart, and at the same time, that moves the right ear toward the heart. So as soon as I stop making sound and just rest in the breath, then my ears are ready to hear, to notice, to pick up the vibrations, the echoes, the instruction, the wisdom, the voice that continues to hum there. Should we do it all again now that I said all that? I'm sorry I didn't think to say it earlier. All right, so for real, I'm going to sing through each of them just once through each of those lines, and you can either sing them with me. We're not going to get into a big process with it, but just see if you can tend to the atmosphere of the heart and the rhythm of who, and those intentions of awakening and listening, of connecting with, enlivening, and being receptive to, all at the same time. We can do all of it, but we often need to put our attention in one direction or another and to choose which direction do I want my attention now? Actively contributing, knocking on the door, waiting for the voice from within saying, who is it? Right? Ya mulem ya dia Rashid, 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 Ya mulem ya hadi, Ya Rashid. These are some excerpts from this here book, The Sufi Message, Volume 2, The Mysticism of Music, Sound, and Word. And these are the same words, but I printed out the specific ones that I wanted rather than, I do have plenty of pencil marks in my book of going, just this section, but this time I decided to just print them out separately. I don't know why, it felt less tedious for me this way. Man has been able to accomplish tremendous things by willpower. Success and failure are its phenomena. It is only the phenomenon of will that will bring one to success. And when will fails, however qualified and intelligent the person is, he fails. Therefore, it is not a human power, it is a divine power in man. It works with the mind. Its work with the mind is greater still. I missed the S on its first time. Its work with the mind is greater still. For no man can hold a thought in his mind for a moment if there is not the strength of his will to hold it. If a person cannot concentrate, cannot keep his thoughts still for a moment, then willpower fails him, for it is will that holds a thought. Do you feel like you got that on first reading, or shall I read it again? Yes, you got it? Yes, read it again. It's not going to help, but read it again anyway. Man has been able to accomplish tremendous things by willpower. Success and failure are its phenomena. It is only the phenomenon of will that will bring one to success. And when will fails, however qualified and intelligent the person is, he fails. Good so far? Therefore, it is not a human power. It is a divine power in man. Its work with the mind is greater still, for no man can hold a thought in his mind for a moment if there is not the strength of his will to hold it. If a person cannot concentrate, cannot keep his thoughts still for a moment, then willpower fails him, for it is will that holds a thought. Better that time? Still no, huh? All right. It is willpower that leads to any success. Without willpower, you can't do anything. Are we good with that much? Yeah. All right. In order to do something, you need to be able to hold your thought steady where you wish for it to be, which is an act of willpower. Good? All right. There's my short little summary for that paragraph. Now, this is a different section. So as I often do, I'll pull out, like, here's a couple sentences here, and then I skip some, and then here's a couple sentences here, and then I skip some, because he gives some examples, or for instance, or in other words, or whatever, but I haven't added anything or shuffled anything around, but here's skipping down a little bit in this reading. Now, coming to the question of what willpower is made of, in poetic words, willpower is love.
Of course.
In metaphysical terms, love is willpower. If one says, God is love, this means in reality that God is will. Do you like it, even if it broke your brain a little bit?
I mean, I think that sometimes you can bend your will towards something that isn't necessarily love. That would be my initial response to that.
Uh-huh. Like what?
Like somebody who's anorexic or something. I mean, they achieve what they supposedly want, you know.
Yeah. Then that's the expression of love. That's what pulls one's attention, one's values, one's desires. So that is the expression of love, even if it's unhealthy, even if it's dysfunctional, even if it's not towards one's greatest
I mean, it's
possible,
power,
but
I would say, I guess my personal opinion in this moment is that there's a positive power and a negative power, at least as it manifests in humans.
uh-huh.
I mean, that's probably not a cool mystic thought.
Only cool mystic thoughts allowed here.
But what is a cool mystic thought?
Yeah. So then we can get into a big tangent of, well, how do we define what is positive or negative, desirable, undesirable? What is beautiful or not beautiful? And Murshid would come back again and again and say that all of those things are subject to the individual. That all of those things, those value systems, those judgments, those preferences and aversions are unique to each person. That we can try to presume, assume, speculate, guess that there is some ultimate mean of what is good or positive, but those things will always be limited to our perspective in our humanness. We'll never be able to see those things from the ultimate God perspective. That's not within our scope of vision. And those things will keep changing. In each individual, those things evolve. Those things are dynamic. So the things that I find desirable and enjoyable and right and valuable, ideal now are not the same as they were 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. Thank God. There's one more sentence of that section, I think. Are you ready?
Go.
The love of God manifests after the creation, but the will of God caused the creation. So the most original aspect of love is will. Chicken or egg? What comes first?
Feels like we're in geometry class. This, then this, then that.
Yeah. But we don't, it's not our task. Like, we don't have to put things in order in the right sequence according to anything. But we can go, here's this. What willpower is made of? Willpower is love. Willpower is love. In metaphysical terms, love is willpower. Same thing. Willpower is love. Love is willpower. If one says God is love, this means in reality, God is will. That is the source, the essence, the divine being is will, which is also love. Same thing, flipped around. What's first, love or will? You could say, like in the Sufi way of seeing things, of describing the beginningness, which isn't a scripture that says, in the beginning, but there is a sense of Godness, of the all-pervading divine reality, unborn, unstruck sound. The all divine. Then it is said God's nature, God's essence is beauty, and God loves beauty, and so God, through will, which is through love, creates all of existence in order to experience themself, herself, himself, God's self. What started that? The being that is beauty, the being that loves, the being that loves beauty, the being that through love creates, through will, which is love, everything. In order to witness, to know itself, in order to have an other, to feel, to see, to adore, to worship. Love and will. I started like this, like, oh, that's not enough fingers. And also too many. Right? As Rumi, the great inspirer and philosopher, has said in his Masnavi, earth, water, fire, and air seem to us as things, as objects. But before God, they are living beings, and they stand as God's obedient servants and obey the divine will. Back to the divine will. We didn't go far away from it, did we? You okay for a little more? Just a little more. A part of that will we inherit as our own divine heritage. And it is our consciousness of it that makes it greater. Here's that again. A part of that will we inherit as our own divine heritage. And it is our consciousness of it that makes it greater.
So then we will to love, to experience. Love.
Yeah. If we are not conscious of it, it becomes smaller.
So is that the succeeding or the failing of love?
Yes. Yes. If we are conscious of it, it becomes greater. If we ignore it, if we're not conscious of it, it gets smaller. It is the optimistic attitude towards life that develops the will. It is the optimistic attitude towards life that develops the will. The pessimistic attitude reduces it, robs it of its great power. Therefore, last sentence, pay close attention. Therefore, if there is anything that hinders our progress in life, it is our own selves.
But what if you're an optimistic person who's delusional?
Lucky you.
I would think that is part of one's own self.
I said, lucky you. You know, Murshid is not a fan of delusion. He is a fan of optimism, but it's like optimism should also be related to reality and to paying attention and understanding things, seeing them cleanly and clearly as they are, and seeing ourselves as cleanly and clearly as we are. This is all part of what we call the polishing of the heart, the polishing of the mirror. That is the dissolving of the confusions and entanglements. So that is our, I would like to call it our responsibility. It is our opportunity, and once we recognize it, it is our responsibility. All right, so I'd like to visit a beautiful name of God, or two or three. Because right now, we're just in our weekly meditation process. We're wrapping up our 99 beautiful names of God for this cycle. We're on the second to last one right now. On Monday, we're going to touch the last one for a week, and then we start over again. So right now, in our beautiful names of God, that we have one that we concentrate on each week for those of us who participate in that process, in that contemplation. This week, we've been holding Rashid, that is the guide, that is really paying attention to everything that happens within us and around us, and try to make really clean, knowledgeable, wise decisions based on that guidance. Last week was the inheritor, the heritage, that is what we are given through our DNA, through our human experience, the amazing, miraculous good fortune that we each had to be manifested, womanifested in human form, that in Sufi terms is celebrated as the most rare and most spectacular privilege. That is like, we could have manifested as anything, as a rock, as a sea sponge, as a tree, as a cat, as an anything. And look at this, blessing of blessings, we manifested this time as human beings. And there's a vast inheritance that was instilled within us, not just in our hands, but in our hearts and our intelligent awareness and the miracle and magic of the human form that we get to experience and hold responsibility for and steer and ride around in this lifetime. So the inheritor, or the heir, or inheritance itself, is Warith, and that's the beautiful name of God. So right now, in this moment of contemplations, will, wish, desire, aligning and harmonizing the personal will with the divine will, we have all of these energies, these attributes, these personality expressions of the divine beloved that are available to us in each of these forms. What is yours to do? What is it that you were given? What is it that you have been blessed with in your incarnate existence, with your intelligence, with your personality, with your interests and your enthusiasm? What is it that is yours as a gift, a blessing, an instruction, a responsibility, warith? And how can you understand and navigate life as intelligently, wisely, beautifully, gracefully as possible, given all of the circumstances that you get to navigate. Rashid. And finally, we'll touch into this next week, but we're going to touch into it today. Yeah. And how can we have the confidence, the trust, and the patience to allow things to unfold in their right way, in their right time, that is not under our force, that is not under our personal preference? Sabur, patience. That's the final of the 99 beautiful names of God. So I'd like to touch into each of these 3 beautiful names of God, and we'll visit one at a time so that we can really settle into, first, the inheritance, or the heritage, the gift, the blessing, the instruction that is in your DNA, in your synapses, in the things that you love and enjoy the most, that includes things like your relationship with cilantro. You know, just as a silly but important example, like, it isn't just about how you are drawn to things. It's also like, what does your personal DNA mean about how you respond to any stimuli, right? And cilantro, for example, some people find really delicious, and like, I want to put that in everything and make and then some people, it tastes like soap and want nothing to do with it, and don't let that anywhere near anything I'm ever going to have any interest in eating. So these things they're impressed within us. That's not something that you at some point decide, how am I going to experience cilantro? No, that's just given to you. So, all right, so Warith is really just paying attention with as much clarity of awareness, and also the primary characteristic of inheritance is gratitude. It's not something that you can force. It's not something that you designed ahead of time. It's something that you are given. It's a generosity. So we're gonna do some repetitions of just Ya Warith, that is inviting ourselves into that receptive awareness, acknowledgement of what has been given to us, what has been instilled, infused into us, that we want to be aware of, we want to be conscious of. So I think we'll do 33 recitations, and if it we'll do 33 recitations, and then we're just going to tend to the breath for a minute or two to just feel what's there for each of us before we move into something else. Ya Warith, 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 Ya Warith. Hold on just a moment. So I didn't express what this word is very well. It's spelled W-A, Wa, which means and, R-I-T-H, Rith. That is like the bestowing, the flowing forth. And it has a circular quality about it. So I don't always think about it this way now, but when I first learned it, I always thought about it like a wreath that you hang on your door. That it's almost exactly the same word as a wreath, that is a circle that you hang on your door for a particular holiday season, but there's an A between the W and the R. So it has this sense of flow of what came before and what lands now and what is left behind for whoever comes next, right? Warith. All right, continuing on. Ya Warith, Ya Warith, Yawarith, 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 Yawarith. And just taking some breaths in silence for a minute or so. And now we'll touch into Ya Rashid, this beautiful name of God for guidance that is moving from Warith, because the beautiful names of God are connected to each other, and they do lead one into the next in a process that is an evolving, dynamic reality. So it is not an accident or a mistake that we go from Warith, from what is our inheritance, our divine inheritance, and then what do we do with that? That is, how do we understand and pay attention to what is available for us, to which step is illuminated, and which direction, and how quickly, and what do we need for the journey, and how do we make these decisions about how we are going to utilize what has been entrusted to us. So, yeah, Rashid, looking for the guidance, the instruction, the information that designates the choices, the opportunities, the creative possibilities in front of us. Ya Rashid, 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 Ya Rashid. And following the breath in silence for another minute or so. And now turning our awareness to our third beautiful name of God in this practice today, Ya Sabur, that is patience, or that's true, and you could see it as defined or described as the patient one. That is, has an attribute, a characteristic, a trait of the divine. The divine is the patient one. And this one, it's the last of the 99 on purpose. That is when we really come through all of the processes. We have all the tools, we have all the experience, all the knowledge, everything that we could have gathered up along the way. And then this is the invitation for really leaning back into a constant knowing that things are happening according to a plan and an intention, a will and a love that we aren't going to understand or aren't going to be able to force. So we're invited to rest in an atmosphere of patience that we also are no good at. I say that a lot, we're no good at it. We're no good at a lot of things. We can't force patience, right? It does not work to go, give me patience now, right? And it's not something that we can generate within ourselves. It's something we can allow. It's something we can try to lean into, try to be open to. But it's not something that we can make happen to any extent at any time. That there is a way that we can go what is our natural impulse, inclination, desire? What is it that we're feeling impatient about? And can we try to soften our grasp on that? That's about as much as we're capable of forcing. It's just a trying to be willing to soften our grasp on our own preferences, on our own agenda, on our own intentions. So, an atmosphere of trust, of stillness, of waiting with a confidence and a knowing that things are happening that we don't need to have figured out or understand, or that we want to be willing and ready to participate in consciously and harmoniously. Ya Sabur, 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 Back to Murshid's words on will. The heart holds the seed of thought, and there also a plant springs out and brings the fruit of fulfillment. But it is not only the thought, it is the power of holding the thought that is of very great importance. The mind is just like a restive horse. Bring a wild horse and yoke it to a carriage. It is such a strange experience for it that it will kick and jump and run and try to destroy the carriage. So it is a weight for the mind to carry when you make it take one thought and hold it for a while. Is that how you would describe your mind? Like a restive horse? And trying to develop concentration and willpower of holding thought is like trying to tie it to a carriage where it tries to kick and destroy the carriage. Michael gave a thumbs up. All the lack that we find in life is the lack of will. And all the blessings that come to us come by the power of will, says Murshid. Was it thus spake Murshid? All right. So then there are a series of question and answer things that I brought shortened versions of these. So clearly, this and almost all of the teachings that we have from Murshid are transcripts of his extemporaneous teaching. That he would have a theme in mind that he wanted to speak about, and then he would show up with a group of people, wherever it was, and just start speaking on the subject. And with no notes, no particular plan. The plan was just the intention, like the theme intention. So then some of them have these question and answer things after he's finished presenting what he feels inspired to say. And then someone says, what is the best way to develop willpower? Anyone else have that question?
But I mean, it's also developing how do you develop more focus?
Yeah. The answer is, Sufis develop willpower systematically by first putting the body into a certain discipline. It must sit in the posture that is prescribed to it. It must stand in a place where it is asked to stand.
That's really interesting because the Yoga Sutras talk about before paying attention to the subtle phenomena of the mind, pay attention to the gross phenomena of the body, and then you can see the subtle phenomena.
What do you think, Michael? Do the Yoga Sutras say all the same things Murshid says? He put a heart emoji. Yeah, we have these conversations a lot because he's a very well-read yogi and studies all of those texts, and that's his background. And then I bring things of Murshid, and he's like, yep, same. Oh, now he just put a Paramutra emoji. Yeah. Why?
Because we're breaking that horse.
Because we're breaking the horse. So
I
why do
like
we
the
start
rest
with the
of yours,
body?
Sue.
Why do we start with the body? Erica?
Why, it's easier, basically.
It's easier. Michael, why? Why do we start with the body?
I really will answer that question if you really want me to.
I do. I mean, we only have 28 minutes left, so, but
The
yeah, I do. Why do we start
the
with the body?
the quick thought I would share as I was just reading Kelly McGonigal talking about the neurobiology of meditation and talking about the fact that our active brain, the part of our brain and the energy of our brain that goes into action takes away from the capacity of our frontal cortex. It literally redirects energy away from the part of our brain that allows us to empathize, that allows us to not only remember, but allows us to aspire and love and grow. And so the first step to building that capacity and building that part of our brain is to resist the impulse of movement within our body. The second part is that movement of our body is always directed toward some goal, and that itself is a distraction. So the more we allow our body to dictate what it is going to do, the less power our mind has, and the more we naturally fall into the body's agenda, whether that's fulfillment of desires or achievement of work, which has merit in and of itself, but is not what we're working on at the moment. Stopping.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michael. I love it.
We haven't explicitly said grounding to the earth,
Nope.
but that, to me, body meditation, holding, creating a foundation, if you will.
Do you suspect that in general, everyone that you know, like human, that speaks your language, that you could say ground to the earth and they'll know what you mean?
I've been in Boulder too long.
Yes, and you know that. All right, so it's a more common language in Boulder than in some other places in the world. But even people in Boulder, could you say that and they'll be like, yeah, I know what you mean. But will they feel it? Will they know what to do? Will they be able to direct their attention and their energy in that way?
You're asking whether it's a useful instruction or?
Whether it's universally accessible.
I think one of my dilemmas is there's very little that's universally accessible, so.
Right.
I've sort of let that screen go, if you will.
Okay, excellent. And if you tell someone, like in general, if you say, wait until the light changes before you cross the street, people are going to be like, okay, got it. And you keep your body standing on the curb. I know, just. And if you go into almost any elementary school and say, okay, children, it's time to sit at your desk, face forward. And everyone knows what that means and can do that and can direct the body to sit where you wish for it to sit and turn the face in the direction that you wish to turn the face. Saying, okay, still your mind. Ha! Good luck. But there's like, it's so easy to instruct the body. That doesn't mean that the body doesn't have impulses and resistance and want to wiggle and assert little itches and discomforts and little stuck places and I might die if I don't lift my shoulder half an inch right now. Or, like we have all kinds of input and instruction that the body is constantly firing to us. But we also have a very easy and immediate command of the body that we can instruct the body in general. This is just like normal, healthy, natural human functioning. You can go sit there. And you do it. And there's no like, I don't know how. No, we all know how to sit where we are told to sit, whether we're telling ourselves or we're following an instruction from someone else. The physical body is the easiest one to observe and to grab hold of. Same thing with, as he mentioned, and Inayat Khan mentioned, Rumi referencing the elements. That when we do the elemental breaths, we start with the breath of earth. That's the breath of the physical body. Because it's the easiest one for us to go, I know what that means. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know where to orient to it. I know how to identify it. It is the hardest one to argue with. It's the least elusive. It's the least tricky. So we start with the one that's the easiest for us to grab hold of and to know exactly what we're wanting to do. So when Murshid says, first, you tell your body what posture you want to sit in. So go ahead right now, just like either as you're sitting right now in your physical posture, or if you're like, well, I'd rather shift a little for this next thing. Whatever it is, just inform your body how you want your body to sit for the next 3 minutes. Not a long time, 3 minutes. And then you have a very easy, very simple instruction that you can give the body that is, hello body, sitting in this posture where you are right now, please do not move other than a natural rhythm of breathing. And either with eyes open or if they're closed, you don't even need to blink. That is, hello body, just for the next couple of minutes, not for a very long time, just a couple of minutes. Try to stay still. No turning the head from side to side. No moving the tongue. No changing posture in any way, not moving the fingers, just resting in stillness. Letting the breath flow naturally. And we're going to spend 1 minute inviting the body not to move, and I will also be silent. Well done, that was 1 minute. Okay, if you need to wiggle, swallow, sneeze, whatever it is that comes, that's fine. It's an observable, manageable, immediately implementable instruction that you can give to the body. So that's where we start. And it's good when, even that much experience, you can go, oh, next time, maybe I wouldn't be sitting on my feet, or maybe I wouldn't have my legs crossed, or maybe I would have something warmer on my body so that I feel more comfortable and I'm not like, oh, I'm freezing, or whatever. Like, there are preparations that you can do. Okay, I want my body to feel supported and comfortable and at ease in staying put in the posture that I have chosen for it, for this moment, for this practice. Simultaneously, very easy to do and also challenging.
I think the thought just occurred to me because I was watching a video about centering prayer, and the lady who was instructing said, centering prayer isn't hard, but it's hard to value it because we don't achieve anything from it. And I felt the same way with this experiment. Like, that was not hard, but it's hard for me to actually be like, okay, I'm gonna do this and this is important.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for that example. It's true that practice in itself is not what's important. It's not that it gives you a particular health benefit to sit still for 1 minute without letting your body move around. But it develops a skill set, a capacity for concentration and for implementing your willpower as you wish that is valuable. So it's the beginning of an exercise of a strengthening capacity. It's where it gets you that's important and that's valuable. But how do we do that? Here's the first thing. And Murshid didn't say, sit without moving the body for 1 minute. He said, that was the specific form that I just said, okay, 1 minute, try to give this invitation to your body, explain, like for me, and in groups that I'm facilitating and inviting people into an exercise, it's helpful to say, we're not going to do this for very long. We're going to do this for 1 minute. So get yourself as comfortable as you can and letting your body know, like, this is not a torture session. I'm not going to keep you here for a really long time, and it's not until I'm in so much distress that I need to, right? My first movement will be to call my therapist. Right? Like, no, it's making something manageable and going like, this is developing a capacity, a personal mastery that I believe is important in order to be more successful, more in harmony, more in alignment with my ideals, with the spirit of guidance, with my own sense of will and intention that I would like to have available to me as much as possible in my life. Some of us have that as a value. Some not so much. That's okay. And it changes.
That's what I was gonna say, it's both.
Yeah. All right. I used to have, it's so fresh in my awareness for me, even though it doesn't feel like a conscious decision for me anymore, about really valuing what I defined or identified. I called it freedom. That was my context and my language for it, which is like, I'll do what I want when I want. And in all of the Sufi perspectives, that attitude of cherishing the ability or the whim loyalty is not freedom. That is slavery, because it puts your impulsive ego motives in charge of your life. That's not having your own will and mastery in charge of your life, which in Sufi ways of seeing things is actually what freedom is. I understand that now. That doesn't mean I'm good at it, but my conscious awareness of those values has shifted for me. Aw, I earned a heart from Michael. Thanks, Michael. All right, next. So first, put the body in a certain discipline. sit in a posture that is prescribed, or stand in a place where it is asked to stand. Okay. Then comes the discipline of the mind. That is done by concentration, you'll be happy to know. When you wish the mind to think on one thing that you have before you, while the mind is thinking about something else, then the mind becomes very restless. Was that confusing?
Yeah.
All right. I think you get the essence of it though, right? Whatever your mind naturally wants to do, which for most of us is chaotic. For most of us, the mind is just running, generating, and chasing thought after thought after thought after thought constantly. That doesn't stop, right? That's just the natural working of the mind, a constant electric firing, synapses, ideas, notions, whims, ruminations, whatever. The mind is in constant motion. And if you try to tell the mind, well, the mind is doing whatever the mind wants to be doing, and you go, look right here, pay attention right here, then the mind is like, you can't make me, I will kick over the cart, right? Okay. That was my summary. my paraphrasing. Okay, disciplining the mind with concentration. This mind is meant to be an obedient servant. What do you make of that? This mind is meant to be an obedient servant, to be under your will. That doesn't mean under someone else's will. It's not the servant to someone else. It's your servant. This body is meant to become your tool with which to experience life. I'll try to remember to grab that link later, Michael. If
Can I
mind...
just quote Megan the Stallion? Body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
That was so
I think
fun.
that's what she was trying to say.
I like it. Nice. Okay. The mind is meant to be an obedient servant. The body, adi adi, is meant to become your tool with which to experience life. If mind and body are not in order, if they do not act as you wish them to, then you cannot hope for real comfort, for real happiness in this world. If you hear that and go, that's not my perspective, that's perfectly fine. When I read that, I go, yep, that sounds true to me. That has not always been my perception, so if that doesn't resonate with you, really, that's okay. And each of us is navigating our own life and path and spiritual beings in the ways that feel resonant, right, and true for each of us in this moment of our lives. So if that's not for you right now, that's fine. Maybe it will be some other time. We only have 10 minutes left. We've only sung one song. Do we have time for another song?
Always time for another song.
Okay. So many things.
10,000 things.
All right, so we're just gonna skip. We can't really do this effectively, but we can in some ways that we can go, I, maybe you, maybe all of us, certainly some of us, want to develop the most beautiful, harmonious relationship we can between our own will and the divine will. I'm going to say we, and maybe that applies to you, maybe not, but some of us, so I'm going to say we, believe, think, understand that developing these capacities, mastery, awareness, wisdom, skill, discipline, concentration, is beneficial for our lasting happiness, fulfillment of purpose, freedom, contentment, usefulness in life. So there are all of these different phases and stages of practice, of attunement, of intention, of trying to soften the tenacious preferences of the personal will, to be receptive, attentive to the instruction, the guidance, the will and presence of the divine, in concert, in harmony. And when we have that developed capacity, awareness, intelligence, and direction that is clarified in right relation to all these things, then we want to invite in all of the strength, the power, to be able to direct and carry out those intentions with confidence, with determination, with the right skills, the right energy, all that. So we're going to jump to that, which is Yahai Yahak. So with Yahai and Yahak, these are two beautiful names of God. Hai, it literally means the life or the living. That is the all capacity for whatever can be shaped into, manifested into, woven into this life reality. Hai. And then Hak is truth. And it's the irrefutable, it's not my truth. And it's definitely not my truth in this moment. It is capital T, truth. So that is the ground of being, the objective, capital R reality that we want to make our solid, unwavering foundation. And those two together contribute to all of our focus, courage, dedication, determination, capacity, follow through. That is inviting in the will, power, presence of God into our own being so that we can implement that entirely. Yahai, Yahak. And I think this one also has a few different things, but I won't remember it until I'm singing it. Allah hai, 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 ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hak, hak hak, Allah hak, hak hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hai ya hak, ya hak, hak hak. get enough of that one. We're gonna have to do that one later tonight. Okay. We're gonna close with the prayer Nabi that is in the little prayer booklets. I can find. Oh. Landing in the chat window. A torch in the darkness, a staff during my weakness, a rock in the weariness of life. Thou, my master, make earth a paradise. Thy thought gives me unearthly joy. Thy light illuminates my life's path. Thy words inspire me with divine wisdom. I follow in thy footsteps, which lead me to the eternal goal. Comforter of the brokenhearted, support of those in need, friend of the lovers of truth. Blessed Master, thou art the prophet of God. Amen.